We are back with more What's Now. Well, it's time to think about taxes for 2021. And what are some common tax myths that people have that we need to debunk? Well, I have them for you right now.
If you believe in some tax myths, then you may regret it. From working at home to postcard-sized filings, what you don't know may cost you. Here to tell us more is Mark Steber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for hosting us. Great topic. Good time to be talking about it.
So why are so many myths around, especially during this 2020 tax season?
Well, 2020 was quite the year for all of us as Americans to start with. From a tax perspective, it was equally complex and will be for all taxpayers this year. They'll see things they've not seen before. They'll have changes on their tax return not seen and certainly not seen last year as they look at last year's taxes. But more importantly, so many Americans have so much to digest. There's been this proliferation of all these tax myths, tax misinformation, and just tax error information that's out there that people are hearing or thinking. And we not only have seen it in the social media space, we did our own survey and it's confirmed a lot of what we thought on some of these mistakes that people simply think on stimulus payments, on unemployment benefits, on work from home, office deductions, and many more. They have bad information, and if they don't get it corrected and they do it themselves on their taxes, or they have a pro who's not well versed in it, they probably will not get their full benefit. They probably will have some IRS audit or tax notice risk and simply won't take advantage of all the benefits that are in place as Americans on their tax return.
Many Americans were forced to work from home in 2020. Are there tax deductions available for these taxpayers?
Well, for decades, there's a great big tax benefit, also shrouded in myth, the home office tax deduction. Now, a lot of people qualify for it, but they think there's an audit flag there, but there is not. But the myth this year is that, hey, I'm working from home, I have an office, I've got expenses, there's this form, the home office tax deduction, I should get that, right? Well, that's not entirely correct. The home office tax deduction is really reserved to taxpayers who have a home office-based business, or at least they conduct business out of their home related to their self-employed personal business. And so not everybody who has a home office gets the deduction, but if you do have a home office and a home business, you do. So say you're self-employed, you have a farm or rental property, or just you're making masks out of your home and you have a home office, you would certainly qualify for either the streamlined home office deduction or the more complex one where you take all your expenses and then that percentage of business that's your home office and you take that on your tax return. On the other hand, if you're an employee working for the convenience of your employer, out of an abundance of caution from the pandemic, or you just choose to work from home, or your office is closed, you may have a home office and you may have expenses and you may be doing work from your home office, but you do not qualify for the home office tax deduction. You can put it on your tax return, oh, for sure, but it doesn't really qualify and you could get called on it by the IRS.
What are the top tax myths people need to be concerned about this tax season?
Well, the home office is certainly one of them, and that's a big one. We have so many people working at home, but two more big ones that are equally fraught with risk and danger and mistake on your tax return. First one has to do with the stimulus payments. As you know, there were two stimulus payment plans this year. 150 million people got money in the first one. 150 or so million people got it on the second one. Those monies are not taxable. You put them on your tax return as taxable income, as many people will do. You'll simply pay too much in tax, and the IRS will not fix it for you. So stimulus payments, not taxable, which is not the same as you shouldn't keep up with it because you may be due more stimulus money if you had a child in 2020 or adopted a child or fostered a child or share custody. So it does go on your tax return, but not as taxable income. And hence that's where the mistake and the myth and the misinformation, has crept out from. A second big bucket of people are unemployment benefits people. As we know, in 2020, near 60 million people took unemployment benefits. Different than stimulus payments, unemployment benefits are in fact, yes, taxable. And if you leave them off of your tax return, you're probably going to get an IRS notice. And since there were several programs in most states, from expansions and extensions and the federal, you may be looking at more than one 1099 to put on your tax return. So even if you do know it's taxable, you may not put it all on there because you might miss one of those statements or have to download your own. So unemployment benefits, yes, taxable. Stimulus, no. Home office, not everybody gets, are our kind of big three mistakes that people are courting disaster with in the tax return this year.
Millions of Americans were unemployed in 2020 because of COVID. What do these taxpayers need to know before filing?
Well, unemployment benefits, as I say, are complicated at the start, let alone when 60 million people get it from 1, 2, 3, or 4 benefit programs during the year. I would tell your listeners and viewers that this year, unemployment benefits are more tricky than ever, not just because there were so many different programs, but because you may have to get more than one statement for each program. Not all states are combining them into one statement. Also, unemployment benefits, as we said, are not only taxable, which is typically a surprise, also they don't automatically have withholding like your paycheck would if you're an employee. So many taxpayers, once they're shocked to find out it's taxable, they're double shocked to find out they had no taxes withheld. And even though the few percentage people that do opt in to have taxes withheld, it's only at 10%, in many cases not enough to cover your tax liability. Finally, for unemployment benefit recipients, it's important, critically important to note that it touches other things on your tax return. For example, the earned income credit, it's based off earned income, which the unemployment benefits are not. And there was a new rule put into place just this year, which will allow affected taxpayers to go back and look at their last year tax return to help offset some of that lower income from the unemployment benefits not being counted as earned income. So there's some provisions in the law to help people out if you know of them and you know about them and you tell your tax pro. Otherwise, unemployment benefits, very tricky in 2020.
This has been such an interesting and useful conversation. Where can we get more information?
Well, our website at jacksonhewitt.com, we have a variety of tools, frequently asked questions on these and many more topics and myths. We have videos that I explain a lot of this and others do as well. We have checklists to get you started. And then you can just put your zip code in a box if you want and locate an office near you. Walk in and get your taxes done today, set an appointment and go later, or order up an envelope and we'll send it to you and you can put your stuff in it and get your taxes prepared by a tax pro from home, touch-free and safe from the pandemic, or just start your taxes yourself. So jacksonhewitt.com, a lot of tools, a lot of resources, and a great place to get started.
Well, thank you so much, Mark Steber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt, for joining us today here on Park City Television.
Thank you, Christine. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this episode of What's Now. Be sure to tune into Park City Television all day, every day. You can find out exactly what to watch and when by heading to our website, parkcity.tv. Also, follow us on social media at Park City TV. Thanks so much for watching this episode of What's Now. I'm your host, Christine Napier. We'll see you next time.